All right, we are live. We are live. Well, yeah, man. Gonna talk about these belts. Gonna talk about this situation. I'm gonna let the list populate a little more, and we're gonna talk about it because that's what we're here to do. We're here to talk about it. We're gonna talk about it. That's what we're here to do. Just post the links for anybody who wants to join the conversation. You know what I'm saying? Shoo-be-doo-be-doo, shoo-doo-be-doo-be, shoo-be-doo-be-doo, shoo-be-doo-be, shoo-be-doo-be-doo. Hello, everyone. Nathan, UK Rob, Jamie ZZ, Gatsby J, Zig Zane, Stu K Boxing, Boxing Monk, Danny Davis. Yeah, hold up. Let me just post this link for the people on Twitter in case they want to come join the conversation. Yeah. Of belts or the lack thereof in boxing. In postmodern boxing, shoo-be-doo-be-doo, shoo-doo-be-doo-be, shoo-be-doo-be-doo, shoo-doo-be-doo-be. All right, we're gonna have this discussion about these belts and what's going on. I heard a soundbite from Eddie Hearn. He was talking to Barry McGuigan that they may be reaching a point where they have to tell the sanctioning bodies to piss off. You know, that like it's getting to the point where you begin to wonder if boxing even needs sanctioning bodies anymore. This is in reference to the Joshua versus Tyson Fury situation and some other situations to a lesser extent. Ryan Garcia very recently said that, these days you don't need a belt. It's about being the people's champion. I feel like he was just using that as a way to skirt around a Devin Haney fight. Like you keep trying to say that one fight is more important than the other. That's what I feel like that really was. But better still, he does have a point. He does have a point. Like it's not like he's completely off base. That the world titles don't mean what they used to mean. The world title is supposed to embody the excellence of the fighter, the point that the fighter has built themselves towards, that you went from a prospect to a contender to a bona fide world champion. But over the years, the value of that has been diminished because the sanctioning bodies are greedy. They're very greedy. And they're lessening what it means. They're lessening the value of what it means to be a champion when they're so quick to put a title in everybody's hands. The prestige, the function of a world title in an ideal world, the function of a world title is the physical embodiment of the fighter's efforts. Everything they did to get to that point to where their excellence can be worn. That you can see it. They're like, this ain't just a fighter. This ain't just a contender. This is a champion. And what that title is supposed to signify is that fighter's excellence. To the consumer, like myself and you guys, what that title is supposed to signify is the story. It's a part of the sales pitch. It's the story of the fighter. This is where the fighter built himself up to. And the problem with postmodern boxing is that the sanctioning bodies now are so greedy, they want to put a title in everybody's hands so that they can collect money from everybody. And in the process of doing that, you're diminishing what it means to be a champion. I think Eddie Hearn said it best. I should play the sound bite. I heard it on Beats' video yesterday. Shout out to Beats. I want to get him in on this if he's awake. Probably is, because the UK's a little bit ahead of us in terms of time zones. Where he was basically saying that, like, yo, you might just, can't nix the whole thing because the promoters are the ones taking the financial risk. The fighters are the ones bearing the greatest risk. They're the ones going in there and fighting. So everybody has something on the line. And all these sanctioning bodies do is come in, collect their sanctioning fee without risking anything. And somewhere else on some other card with some other promotion, they're doing the exact same thing without having to risk anything. And the entire function of the sanctioning bodies is to try to give the sport structure, give it its pecking order. But they betray their function. They betray the function that they're there to perform. They're like, yo, dog, you the one that's supposed to keep things on a straight and narrow. That's your job. And you're not doing that by manipulating your rank standings or mandating certain fights that, like, bro, why did they mandate Dominic Breazeale fight Deontay Wilder instead of Dillian White when Dillian White was ranked ahead of Dominic Breazeale? How much sense does that make? At that time in 2017, Dillian White had worked his way up to the #1 spot. What does the WBC do? They order Wilder to fight Breazeale. Why would you order him to fight Breazeale when Breazeale was ranked at #6? That doesn't make sense. And this is why in postmodern boxing, more so than any other era before it, this is why in postmodern boxing, not just the boxing fans, but the promoters themselves are starting to wonder, yo, do we even need belts? Because what function are they performing? You betray the function that you're here to perform. You don't give the sport structure. You make it more confusing. Look at what they did to the lightweight division. You made it more confusing. Vasyl Lomachenko was the WBC champion. That's what he was. And what y'all do, y'all created some franchise crap, some garbage, and made it confusing. So what did Teofimo win from Loma? A designation or a championship? Vasyl Lomachenko is the champion. Teofimo Lopez is the champion. Devin Haney is also the champion. Mauricio Suleiman, and also the champion. Everybody's a fucking champion with y'all. Everybody's a champion. Oh, yeah, it's overcast over here, bro. Appreciate that, Napoli. The belts used to mean something, but the WBA, WBC took something meaningful to the average fighter and pissed all over it. Screw Mauricio and Gilberto. I agree. Barry McGuigan, he said some stuff that really made me think, because Barry's a fighter. If the title means anything to somebody, you'd imagine that it meant something to the fighter. And he asked a question, he asked a rhetorical question. They're like, yo, dog, I would have got the same money. I would have got the same money for that fight with or without that world title. He says something along those lines. For those that haven't heard those sound bites, go to Boxing Beats and Rhymes page and go to his last video, the Boxing Digest. It's a wonderful show. It's won several awards in the United Kingdom. They're going to do an expose on Beats. It's a wonderful channel. Barry Jones, my fault. Yeah, I'm bugging out. Barry Jones, I'm bugging out. My fault, bro. But it's a valid point that if y'all not even going to do what y'all supposed to do, which is give the sport structure, give it its pecking order, give it its hierarchy of fighters so that we know who the good fighters are, who the great fighters are, and who the not so great fighters are. If y'all ain't even going to do that because y'all just want to put a belt in everybody's hand so y'all can get money from everybody, after a while, what people going to start asking is, yo, what do we need y'all for? The promoters and them, they bearing the financial risk. The fighters are bearing the risk to their health. What risk is y'all bearing? Y'all come over here, y'all collect a percentage of the pot for doing what? You ain't even doing your job. Bridgerweight division. What's a Bridgerweight division? Another way for you to get sanctioning fees from more fighters. More fighters that probably wouldn't have been ranked, but since you carved out this special little lane, oh yeah, we get to collect fees from y'all too. We got a whole different set of championships in this division too. It's obvious that the reason that being a champion doesn't mean now what it meant before is because all the prestige is in its exclusivity. That everybody doesn't get to call themselves a champion, that everybody doesn't have a world title. But in today's boxing environment, yo, you look around, Rolly got a belt, Gervonta got a belt, Teofimo got a belt, and it's what I'm talking about with the same organization. I ain't hold on, let me read this super chat. Appreciate that, Sosa. Salute to you, Big J. I'm glad you're tackling this long overdue topic. The belts have caused our great sport to be further segregated. Boxing should function like Borg. Yeah. I agree. It should be a collective. These are guys who all have a belt with the same organization. Teofimo has the super. Gervonta has the regular. Rolly has what is it, the gold or the interim? Like, bro, like you got 3 different guys, and they all gonna call themselves champions though. Like they all gonna call themselves champions. And you don't see what's wrong with this. The sanctioning bodies basically have painted themselves into a corner where the promoters themselves are starting to ask, yo, why are we paying y'all? Why are we paying y'all? Because y'all get y'all money from us. All right. We pay y'all. Y'all don't pay us. And for what we paying y'all for, we're not even getting nothing back out of that. So it creates an environment where you're like, yo, should we even keep paying these guys for what? People want to see Tyson Fury and Anthony Joshua fight regardless. It's messed up because a big appeal of a big part of the sales pitch, I should say, is the story of the fight. The story of the fight is, for the first time, the undisputed heavyweight championship could be fought between 2 Brits. For historical purposes in the annals of boxing history, that's significant. They're like, yeah, yo, Britain came up, the UK came up. They got 2 of the best heavyweights in the world, and you want that to be a part of the story. But the way the sanctioning bodies is doing things, you got to start to ask, like, yo, do we even need y'all, man? If I tell everybody, yo, look, Tyson Fury and Anthony Joshua outside in the parking lot, they duking it out. You think everybody not gonna go? Belts or no belts, everybody gonna go. Belts or no belts, everybody gonna go. If I say, yo, Shannon Briggs and Evander Holyfield is duking it out in the parking lot, you think everybody not gonna go to the? They gonna go, belts or no belts. So because the sanctioning bodies have betrayed their function, their purpose in the sport, because they have one purpose: give the sport its pecking order, give the sport its structure. You got Gilberto Mendoza with the WBA. He want to put more belts out there. In 2016, 2017, the WBA said that they were going to try to consolidate world titles, that they were going to try to keep it 1 per division. They've been scrapped that plan. You got gold. After he said that, what they came up with, the WBA gold. What the hell is the WBA gold? Somebody need to, like, in the hierarchy, in the pecking order, what is the WBA gold? Like what is that? You got the super, the regular, the gold, and the interim. That's 4 belts for 1 weight class with the same organization. So why would it mean anything to be a champion when you want to put a belt in everybody's hand? A part of me doesn't want the belts to go away because of the history. Because of the history. The history and the story of the fight is important to the sales pitch. Otherwise, it's just fighters. That's all. It's just fighters. The belt ideally commemorates the excellence of a particular fighter and everything they have accomplished to get there. In an ideal world, that's what the belt represents. But in postmodern boxing, because they're so quick to put a belt in anybody's hand, that prestige gets lessened and it gets taken away. Because, yeah, you want to put a belt in this person's hand and maybe they deserve it, but this other person over here, you want to put a belt in their hand too. Maybe they don't deserve it as much because this person for X, Y, and Z, and this person, you just doing favors to their promoter. That's all you doing. Why you think it's all this proliferation of WBA baby belts? Why you think? So that, oh, when my fighter fight, I want to be able to say it's a championship fight. So hook them up with that WBA regular. Hook them up with that WBA gold. Interim, I don't mind interim. I understand the function of interim. You feel me? I get it that if something happens to the champion, if they're injured, if they're otherwise unable to fight, this is the champion that will be elevated for the time being until their return or something else. I get it. The thing is, you shouldn't call an interim champion a full-fledged champion. And that's how they act, more or less. That's how they act. Like, oh, this person's a champion. No, you're not a champion, bro. You a substitute. You're not a champion. You the runner-up. You're the mandatory challenger, but you're not a champion. You shouldn't be classified as one. Because if we call you a champion, and he a champion, and he a champion, and he a champion, then what does it mean? It's like 4 of you. And you got guys like me. I speak fluid sanctioning body. I'm fluent in WBA, WBC. I speak like 8 languages. I speak English. I speak Spanish. I'm trying to learn German. I speak WBA, WBC, IBF, and WBO. Out of all those different languages, the IBFs is the easiest to understand because they're on the straight and narrow. They don't play a lot of games. They might have had a sketchy history, but here today, that is the best run sanctioning body that does things the way they're supposed to do them. That even if you don't know who the mandatory challenger is, that doesn't matter. It's the mandatory challenger. It is their job to ensure that fighters get fights, that we are a sanctioning body, you are our champion, this is your mandatory challenger. You don't get to play games, all right? When the order come down, you have to fulfill your obligation as a champion. That's the way it's supposed to be. A lot of times, I see people complain about the IBF's rank standings, right? They're like, oh, I never even heard of that guy before. It ain't about whether or not you heard about him before. It's about whether or not they're the mandatory challenger. It ain't about if you heard of him before. Who the hell are you that people need to be worried about what you heard of before? For all I know, you live under a rock. IBF have the worst ranking, though. No, I'm going to tell you what, Sean. It's not that they have the worst ranking. Remember, the fighters themselves and their handlers, they're the ones that decide who they want to be ranked with. So what you have to ask yourself is why these big names don't want to be ranked by the IBF. Why not? Because remember, they don't just rank you just like that. You got to want that. So what you have to ask yourself is how come the only sanctioning body that's on a straight and narrow, you don't want to be ranked with them? Why not? What are you afraid of? That they're going to order you to do something that you don't want to have to do? Is that what you, because that's how it looked to me. I hear it all the time. The IBF's ranks, they got a bunch of this, that, and the other. Look at the WBC's ranks, right? You're going to see a bunch of great names, bunch of great fucking names. How many of them actually fight each other, though, based on those rankings? How many? Like, oh, they got this guy and that guy and that guy and those guys, and they ain't be fighting. So what's the point of your ranks? When the WBC ordered Tyson Fury to fight Dillian White, did he fight him? No. Oh, the WBC's ranks, it's the all-stars, bro. It's just all superstars in their ranks. But do they be listening to them? No. And does the WBC penalize him for it? No. His status for non-compliance with the WBC in an ideal world should have been rescinded. Like, hold up, bro. We ordered you to fight this dude. Now you gonna do what we tell you to do, or we ain't gonna rank you, bro. We ain't gonna rank you. But they're not gonna do that. They won't do that because what they're after is this. That's what they're after. Nah, we'll still rank you, Tyson Fury. Don't worry. Because you want them sanctioning fees from his fights. They don't want to be exactly, Alexis Rumbero. I don't know if you free, Alexis. If you want to join, you know what I'm saying? I'll shoot you the link. They don't want to be put in a situation where, remember, the IBF is not going to cater to you the way the WBA would. And they're not going to cater to you the way the WBC would. So don't blame the IBF for who's not in their rank standings. You should be asking yourself, why don't you want to be ranked by the IBF? Because it's your team that makes that decision. It's you and your team. Yo, I want to shoot for the IBF title, so get me ranked over there. And I'll work my way up. Because at least with them, I know that I'm going to get my title shot. The WBC might play with me the way that they played with Dillian White. I don't want to be ranked by them. I'm not going to waste no time on them. The WBA, they got like 4 different belt holders in one division. I don't want to be ranked with them. The WBO is a little better. It is a little better. That's not true. How is that? Oh, I'm going to say this, Arm. That's true and false. In order for Errol Spence Jr. to get the IBF, he had to fly he had to fight in eliminators, which you should have to do. Fight in eliminators, and then he had to fly to Sheffield. Some people might call that easy. Some people might say that's not easy, that he had to go into foreign soil, foreign territory. Well, you're not the champion, bro. So, I mean, if you want to get it, go get it. How come the IBO? Because, I mean, look, the other 4 organizations, and I don't want the IBO to be recognized. What I want is for the major 4 to straighten their act. That's what I want as a boxing fan. Straighten your act. The major 4, WBC, WBA, WBO, and IBF. IBF and the WBO is more or less, they all right. It's the other 2, coincidentally the oldest 2. The WBA, which is the oldest, and the WBC. They the ones that need to get it together because they the ones that's dicking around the most. They the ones that's dicking up boxing, if you want to be honest. If you think about this situation and what people complain about, what they're complaining about is the WBC and the WBA. That's what they're complaining about. No, I'm gonna tell you what, WB. It's not that four is too many. What it is that the belt holders are not fighting. It wouldn't matter if it was 5 belts out there. If the guys were fighting, it would be okay because then the belts would fall in the background and it would be about the fights. I said this to Beats on a live many months ago. When I was young, right, there was not that much emphasis on belts because everybody was fighting. Like Mike Tyson became undisputed. Amazing accomplishment, right? But he fought everybody, though. He fought, win or lose, he fought everybody. And that's how it was. Everybody was fighting everybody. So you didn't have to worry about, oh, it's too many belts out here. The reason that people complain now is because you got guys, oh, I got a belt. I'm going to hide it. I'm going to hide it. Nah, I don't got to fight you. I'm a champion. I don't got to fight you. That's the problem, that everybody that should be fighting is not fighting. If the promoters are the cancer of boxing, HLD, you tell me where the money to make these fights is supposed to come from. Imagine that. The promoters are the cancer of boxing? Okay, so who gonna pay to make the fights? You? I'm curious. Boxing is the only sport where the fans themselves don't even know how it works. The promoters are the cancer of boxing. Who you think pays the fighters, bro? What do you think the money comes from to get the venue, to stage the event so that you can have something to watch? Promoters ain't the cancer of boxing. Network television and backdoor deals is the cancer of boxing. The network is dictating what fights happen and what fights don't happen. Networks need to be on board with a beltless era. They love them because it's a part of the sales pitch. That's the thing. The belt is a part, the belts are a part of the sales pitch, are a part of the prestige. That without belts, they're all just fighters, indistinguishable from each other without the belts to tell you this is an excellent fighter. That is an excellent fighter. That is an excellent fighter. Without the belts, they're all just fighters. But the belt shows you, ideally, in an ideal world, if things were happening the way that they should, the belt signifies this isn't just a fighter. This is an excellent fighter, an amazing fighter. And this is their status based on that excellence. This is where they have worked their way to, that they are not just a contender. They're a champion. In an ideal world, that's the way it's supposed to be. The problem is, like I said, all these WBA, WBC, they want to put a belt in everybody's hand so they could get at everybody money. They want to have a belt on the line in everybody's show. Oh, we got a belt on the line at the Matchroom show, at the PBC show, at the Lou DiBella Entertainment show, at the motherfucking BT Sport, Queensbury Promotion show. And it's all the funnel money back to them. It's all this quote-unquote nonprofit. Let me see. WB says, MMA doesn't have this problem. People in the West only care about one belt, and I don't need to say it. You know it. You're wrong. In mixed martial arts, which is a much smaller sport than boxing, the UFC have their belt. Bellator has their belt. K1 has their belt. Why does this never come up? Because those fighters don't fight each other. All these different things, all these different entities that I just named are individual fighting federations that are basically promotional outfits. UFC fighters don't fight for Bellator belts. Bellator fighters don't fight for UFC belts. There is no cross promotion because it's a smaller sport than boxing. A lot of people, this boggles their mind when I tell them this, but it's the truth. UFC, like Chris Cyborg is at Bellator right now, but when she was with the UFC, well, you ain't going to see her fighting for no Bellator belt. Why would she? She's with UFC. Dana has all those contracts. Why you think Zuffa boxing never got off the ground? Boxing is the biggest sport. And it requires It requires the different outfits to work together. The sad part is they used to. They don't anymore, but they used to. Bellator, UFC, K1, Risen, and any innumerable number of fighting federations around the world exist. And every single one of them has their own version of a belt. So miss me with the, oh, this isn't a problem in MMA. Well, that's because in MMA, they don't make cross-promotional fights. I wouldn't go that far. Risen seems to get a lot of people. And look, Risen, go look at their shows. A lot of people go. Look at K1 shows. A lot of people go. I ain't gonna say Bellator, not that much, but people go. Don't tell me that. Oh yeah, UFC. No, in this country, like mostly, I would say UFC is at the forefront. They definitely doing good for themselves. They have I would say that they have the best promotion of any fighting federation in mixed martial arts. They definitely have the best promotion. I don't think that can be argued. But to say that, oh, that's all that people care about, no. I seen a couple of shows, bunch of people over there, Risen, Japan, watching Tenshin Nasukawa and all of that. Europe, they got K1, they got Rico Verhoeven, this big guy, real big guy. He looks like one of the Klitschko brothers. Why would Dana make a UFC fight a Bellator fighter he released to some other org? He's not this is one of these asshole person. You're not understanding. The point of what I was trying to tell you is that there are not cross-promotional fights in mixed martial arts. That's what I was trying to tell you. That's the difference. In boxing, you have different promotional outfits with fighters that fight for the same belts. Those are the ties that bind. That's what brings them together. And that's why you don't see that in mixed martial arts, because they're not fighting for the same belts. These different promotional outfits, they don't work with each other. They have no reason to. In boxing, which is a much bigger sport and much older, they are required to work together because your fighter wants the WBC title, but so does mine. So they got to fight for it. Got you right now, bro. I'm going to shoot it to you right now. We're gonna crack some PBC jokes. People love when we crack PBC jokes. Remember when we was talking about Ray Vargas, bro? We was talking about Ray Vargas, man. Yo, they cashed his ass out, bro. That's wild to me, man. They cashed his ass out. Wasn't Gary just criticizing Gervonta Davis for fighting little guys so he could turn around and get ordered to fight a little guy? What happened to going up? Fighting Burchell. What happened to all of that? I don't know. I mean, UFC is like old times wrestling. Never know who the real best guys are because different companies. Yeah. Yo.
No, yo no sé por qué me da risa desde que te veo.
Manín, yo estaba pensando en esa vaina. Yo vi la noticia que WBC ordenó Ray Vargas versus Gary Russell Jr. And I thought about the conversation that we had. Like, yo, dog, you went over there. He was over there for a year, bro. Un año. He went over there at the end of 2019, I think it was. Maybe no, before that. And he's been over there a year. And I never believed the story that his leg broke. Yeah. I never believed it. I believe ellos le dieron un dinerito. Like, yo, mira, vete pa Mexico, stay down there, con una vacación, chill, and then just and rock out. And then they told him to do what Peter Quillen did. Remember, they told Peter Quillen, vacate the WBO because Rock Nation just won the purse bid. Vacate the WBO. That's what he did. Okay. I think they did the same thing to Ray Vargas in the sense that, like, yo, look, we want Luis Neri. He moved up to your weight. We want Luis Neri to be a champion. So vacate the belt. Here's this money. Move up. Fight Gary Russell. Because it doesn't. How could you be a mandatory at 126 when you haven't fought in over 12 months? How could you be a man? How? You haven't fought in 12 months.
The setup is clear. And the sad part about this, I was looking for I mean, I was looking forward to the Jesse Magdaleno fight against Russell, which was
¿Con
the
quién está
mandatory.
Jesse?
You
¿Con quién está
understand?
Jesse?
Huh?
¿Con quién está Jesse? What promoter is he with?
Jesse Magdalena's with Top Rank. The point is, exactly. Yeah, I see what you're saying. So they did the end around, which is pretty obvious to me. But again, I can't complain about it because I can't complain about it because you know, which was what my beef with Top Rank regarding Crawford. I'm glad that this happened because it further illustrates the points where I feel that Bob Arum fucked up, and I'll tie it all up. So the precedence that was set, or that is set, is that the WBC says that its champions can move up and automatically challenge on the next weight, right? That's what they did with Ray Vargas and what's happening now with Russell, right? Sometimes I tell people this and they don't really understand what I'm talking about, so I actually have to bring it up and illustrate it when it actually happens. So it's happening now. Mm-hmm. So again, if you see what's happening now, this is my point where Bob Arum fucked up. He fucked up when Crawford was the unified champion at 140. Your relationship with the WBO is set in stone. No matter what happens and who's there, you're going to get a shot at one of them at the WBO belt whenever the hell you want it. So why not have Crawford have moved up to 147 through the WBC rank? It would have guaranteed him at least a shot at 2 belts.
I'm going to disagree. And I'm going to say that plan would have only worked by way of the IBF. That's the only way that plan works. By way of the WBC, ellos van a jugar con él. They would play with him. They would play with him the way that they played with Dillian. But if it's the IBF, yeah, you forcing them. You're forcing a fight. You either gonna fight me or you're gonna vacate. There's no two ways about it because the IBF is not gonna accommodate you. The WBA will. The WBC will. The WBO, maybe not, but not the IBF. Not. And what belt did Errol have? The IBF. What belt he still has? The IBF.
The IBF.
So if you go the IBF route, if you go that route, you force the situation. El lío es que nadie sabía que cuando Crawford estaba en el 140, nadie sabía que toda esta vaina iba a pasar. Because remember, fucking Vosdick fought Stevenson. ¿verdad?
Yes.
So uno no pensó que, la pelea, they're never going to make it. It's going to be impossible. I'm telling you, 2-3 years ago when he was still down there, I never thought this was going to happen. I didn't think this was going to happen. That's why, recuerda antes when we was on Ring IQ on Facebook, I wasn't hard on the PBC. You were. No, I wasn't.
You were hard on me for being hard on the PBC.
Most people don't.
You were hard on me for being. He said, well, I remember your argument. They're giving us free fights. Why are you so hard on them? You must.
Yo.
I was like, dude, they're playing a game with you, but I'm not gonna let you.
No. And that's why I always give Alexis a lot of credit because he was hip to it before I finally seen it. That I'm like, wait a minute, Korobov, Quillen. You know what I'm saying?
Yo, the game is rigged. The game is rigged. I was like, the people, no problema. And I saw the what they were trying to do, which a lot of people are not talking about. The PBC was originally going to try to do what they're really doing now, but with their own belts.
Yeah,
remember that the PBC is always been about trying to create some monopoly, but that's neither here nor there. Just one more point, and I do agree with what you said. And then when you just brought it up now, I now remember because people tend to forget sequence of events, right? Sequence of events matter. That's why when people get lost on a subject, it's because they don't remember how the hell it got to that place. You understand what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So here it is. When Crawford was at 140. When Crawford was at 140, had the WBC belts, and it ties into what you're saying, that they were going to play games with him. You're right. Why? Because Top Rank had not established or reestablished their relationship with the WBC. It's a very mafioso thing. It's like you got to kiss the ring and you got to go end around and do whatever it is to get the connection, to get the okay, like, okay, we're fucking with you. So what happened, in my estimation, with the WBC is that when the PBC was flushed with money, right? Because they were flushed that money, $500 million.
Yeah, they had a lot of money. They had a lot of money.
So they had a ton of money. Heyman and them probably established their relationship, by which way, I don't know, with the WBC. And that's when they started getting the preferential treatments, the fights, the Deontay Wilder being, never having to really fight anybody or no, you know what I'm saying? And things of that nature. At that point, Bob Arum did not have a relationship with Mauricio Suleiman. It wasn't until, and this is where I was talking to you maybe a couple of years ago or 2 years ago or whatever, when the franchise belt happened. It wasn't until, remember, it was a big deal. Nobody talked about it. When the Top Rank sent its emissaries, right? The Brad Goodmans and Todd Dubois
to the
convention in Mexico, and then all of a sudden they reestablished their relationship. And then what does the WBC do? They made this whole big deal about giving Bob Arum a plaque for all the years. That was it. That's when they said, okay, we were back in bed together. We couldn't, and that precipitated the Top Rank's deal with ESPN. People had, which was influxed Top Rank with cash and cachet. He now they had Disney backing him. Of course, he's gonna make that relationship.
Pero ponlo así, que cuando tú el sanctioning bodies, see, the sanctioning bodies don't realize something. You don't need sanctioning bodies to stage fights.
Yes.
You don't need them. Like, you need the commission. You need a boxing license.
Yes.
You don't need sanctioning bodies to stage fights. Y ellos se pasaron porque la función that they're supposed to have, the function that you're supposed to perform, you're not performing it anymore. Y el Eddie Hearn, él ya está harto que, ven acá, el riesgo financiero, I'm taking it. My fighters, they're taking a risk. What are you risking? That we have to pay you. Y ahora lo que tú quieres hacer es joderme a mí. I'm trying to make this undisputed fight y tú me quieres joderme a mí y yo te estoy pagándote a ti. Vete para el diablo entonces. Vete para el diablo with your belt entonces. We don't need you. You think that we need you to sell Tyson Fury versus Anthony Joshua?
It's not necessary.
We don't need you. So ahí lo que yo veo bueno ahí es que con esa presión que ellos le ponen, yo, y'all need to get it together. Y'all need to play ball and get it together as sanctioning bodies. And it's not the WBO. I mean, me gusta Paco. It's not the WBO. And it's not the IBF. It's not Lindsey Tucker or Daryl Peebles. It's Mauricio Suleiman and Gilberto Mendoza. Y'all need to play ball. Y'all messing the sport up. We've been saying it for you. Y'all messing it up. So play ball y deja la vaina. Deja la vaina. Because you got everybody running around with a belt. Everybody got I got a belt over there in the car. I got a belt in the car, in the trunk of the car.
Hey, listen. So again, you're absolutely right. So let's get to the solutions, right? So because people like to pose problems, no solution. Let's get to the solution. Backtrack a little bit with the WBO situation. First of all, I completely disagree with Usyk. Not that he doesn't have the right to to enforce whatever is mandatory challenge. He has it. But the point is, at some point, if you're a fighter, you have to understand that the value is not with the belt, right? The value is with the fighter. So if this guy were to vacate the WBO belt and he picks it up, what value does it have? Nobody's gonna see Usyk as any damn champ. You understand what I'm saying? Nobody's gonna see Usyk as any damn champ.
That's true.
You're not a champion. The big fight took place. These two guys are fighting. Those are the guys that the entire world on both continents, both sides of the Atlantic, are gonna see as a champion. So what value is that? You just shut the fuck up. Wait your turn. Let things play out. and then challenge the guy that comes out of it, no matter how long you have to wait, because at the end of the day, the value would be in that action. What you can
I'm gonna
get.
say this:
Go
if
ahead.
we respected the WBO as an organization, then I could respect the decision a little more. You understand what I mean? That like, if we respected the process, then I would be okay with saying, look, he's due his title shot. You know, I could see a situation like that, because the other side of that is if there is no structure, guys don't get title shots. Do you think the PBC wanted to give Vozick a title shot? No. He's a
No.
top-ranked fighter. They didn't want to make that fight. They didn't want to make that fight. If it wasn't for the process, that dude don't get a shot. So I respect the process because I see the virtue of it. But on the other side of it, it's like, all right, you guys rewrite your bylaws every fucking weekend, right? So why don't you write a bylaw that if we're on the eve of an undisputed championship, the mandatory is on standby? That's what I would do. Not unification match. It has to be in a situation where we're on the eve of an undisputed championship. Yo, you gotta wait, bro. You get your shot after this. You get your shot, but right, you gotta wait, bro. Right?
The bylaw is actually in existence, but it's not written in stone. It's not quantified with like an agreement, an official agreement, and that's what needs to happen. But
Yeah.
you know, usually if there's an undisputed or a unification shot or a stake on the table, mandatories, you know, take a back seat. But that's not written in stone. They have to write it down in stone. But better yet, now here's the kick, because this is what made me want to talk to you and get on your show, is that how do you fix this problem? Let me tell you something. Here it is. The winner, if you get to the point, once you get to the point where the winner of a fight of the magnitude of Joshua Fury, or even Ramirez Pistol.
Yeah.
Is it Ramirez? No,
Ramirez
Taylor. This kid could do it right now. What's his name? Teofimo Lopez could do it right now because he already did it. At that point, that person needs to say, you know what? I don't need to pay any more sanctioning fees. I'm going to just drop all these belts and hang out with this Ring Magazine belt. Boom. Now you have the lineage of over 100 years or whatever of Ring Magazine belts champions. So you have that lineage, and you don't have any sanctioning fees.
To clarify, that plan only works if you make the fights afterwards. You understand what I mean?
Yes.
That uno dice,
Yes.
mira, coge esto y vete para el diablo, y yo voy a pelear con el Devin Haney. Or, por ejemplo, yo voy a pelear con el without the belt. I don't need the belt to fight him. You understand? Like, I don't need your status. I can fight him because I fucking feel like it. So what would have to happen is your step. Vacate all of them. Like, y'all can all go to hell. Let's fight. And you make the best fights after that. You make the Haney. You make the Garcia. You make the Javante.
Yes.
To show them that we don't need you. You were invited to the party for a reason. You're not even doing what you invited for, so get out of here. Because you just getting money for nothing, for doing favors.
Yeah. And so I think to that extent, I think that the person not only has to have the Ring Magazine and be unified or undisputed, but the person has to be an attraction.
Yes.
So that the big fights come to him.
Yes.
But even if you have that power, you have to choose the tough fights. So you're right.
But that's the point I'm making. If you wanted to show, if you wanted to change, and it would take that though. You want to show the sanctioning bodies you're gonna play ball or you're not invited to the game, pretty much, right? All right. First, take your belt, stuff it up your ass. I'm gonna fight all the top guys, and I'm gonna get all the money that comes with fighting those top guys, and y'all won't get a crumb. You won't get a crumb unless you play ball. You got to play ball. The problem is the sanctioning bodies can be bought. It can be bought. Mm-hmm. You know that. If you know, they're like, look, if you're a promoter, you got a stable of fighters, you go to Mauricio, listen, man, all of my guys is going to fight. You want these sanctioning fees? You better play ball because all my guys is going to fight. We're going to get this money. If you don't get this money, they'll get it with somebody else. You understand? Like we go,
and
if you want to play ball, yo, we'll go to Gilberto. We'll go to Gilberto. He'll get the sanctioning fees. So you do what we tell you. And that's the problem. That's what created the problem. That the sanctioning bodies, and nobody likes to say it, but yeah, they're corrupt, bro. You doing favors. You doing favors. You are. Point blank, period. You're supposed to be the one that doesn't do favors. You're not supposed, you're not supposed to do favors. Listen, bro, this is your mandatory. All right? Why does Tyson Fury get to be ranked by the WBC in 2018, 2019? They ordered a fight between him and Dillian. Tyson Fury, in so many words, told him, go fuck yourself. I don't listen to y'all. And what y'all did? Y'all rank him. And you talk about the prestige of, like, yo, he basically said, yo, fuck you. And you said, thank you. Thank you, Tyson Fury, for letting us get money off your fight. Thank you for holding our belt.
Hey, listen. Tyson Fury pulled off. You listen, that dude, listen. Have I told you to listen yet?
Yo, I'm listening.
That motherfucker came in with no belt and acting like he had a belt. And he said he had a belt because his imaginary belt, got him 50% of the fucking purse against Wilder. Can you believe that? It was an imaginary fucking belt.
Yo, shut up.
That nigga didn't have a belt. Yo, dude. And that imaginary belt, his talk about speaking, believing, receiving. Speaking, believing, receiving. That motherfucker didn't even speak. That dude, yo, hey, listen.
Yo, dude,
you couldn't tell Tyson Fury he didn't have a belt.
Nah, I gotta give him a shout out, because if that ain't the most hustling ass shit I've seen,
my man,
like, yo, I'm lineal.
He threw the game on his ear, bro.
Bruh, I'm lineal, B. I know you got that green joint, right? I'm lineal, B.
No.
He led.
Dude, that nigga said what you're saying. He said,
yeah.
Fuck about these belts. I'm lineal champion. And guess what? This belt buckle I got right here, you know what I'm saying? This Gucci belt is about as valuable as anything you got around your waist. That's what he said, bro.
Now, here's
and then he made it happen. It was crazy.
Here's where the WBC fucked up at. The second that you could identify that Tyson Fury is non-compliant with a direct order from a sanctioning body, what they should have done, which they did not because they're greedy, they want sanctioning fees, but what they should have done was excommunicate him and drop him from their ranks. Like, bro, this is an order. This is an order. We're ordering you to fight Dillian White. And you told us to go fuck ourselves. Why don't you go fuck yourself? Hey, yo, Dillian White, you are now the mandatory challenger to Deontay Wilder. That would have fucked him. That would have fucked him. Like, we just gave Dillian your title shot, bro. You had a fast track to Wilder. You had it. You told us to go fuck ourselves. Yo, Dillian, you the mandatory challenger. Go get him, Dillian. This is your chance. Nah, y'all choose to lick his ass. All right, Mauricio. I can't believe Mauricio is a Capricorn. I don't even believe that. He's not. He not Capricorn. He can't be. He got to be an Aquarius. Real shit, yo. But that's what needed to happen. That's what needed to happen that didn't happen. And the way it breaks down is the reason that boxing is the way that it is now with these sanctioning bodies is because all the sanctioning bodies want a sanctioning fees. They're willing to let you disrespect them for sanctioning fees. Some of them. Like Mauricio is a doja. Like you a doja, bro. You a doja. Canelo told you to go fuck yourself, and what you start doing? Licking his ass. Tyson Fury told you to go fuck yourself.
Created the franchise belt to avoid any more problems with Canelo.
Canelo is the WBC. Like, he told yo, go fuck yourself.
And the story. And listen, I live in the world. I live in the world that I'm all about acceptance of the bullshit. I'm not gonna bang my head against the wall.
Yeah,
I'm not gonna sit there and cry a fucking river over shit I can't control.
I dig it.
You understand what I'm saying?
No, I dig it.
That shit is done. No matter how many times I curse Mauricio Level and how many memes you make and how many goofs, yo, the shit is in paper. The shit is down, is law, is Mauricio. And you can tell you can't even hold Mauricio Suleiman to his own words because that motherfucker's slick with it.
Yo, listen.
But I do understand his argument.
No, he not,
I understand
he not slick. Ellos no le ponen presión. Yo vi la entrevista con Nestor Gibbs of the Boxing Voice. And yo, Nestor was grilling him, bro. He was grilling him. Like, he was like, well, what you mean about the franchise? So he a champion? Listen, you don't understand. Like, he couldn't even answer the questions, bro.
Hey.
But if you squeeze him, the other thing is, because boxing is not at the forefront of the sporting world, those guys like a Howard Cosell, they don't get the grill. You know, imagine if you had Barbara Walters and Mauricio Suleiman. He'd be in the hot seat, bro, in front of everyone. Channel 7 News, ABC News, 2020. But Mauricio, why you giving everybody about your belt, bro? You're supposed to be doing that. It's different. But because boxing fell into the background of the sporting world, all the priority.
Bro, you are so right. You are so right. If it wasn't such a niche sport and they had to answer questions on fucking wide world of sports and fucking Barbara, you know, yes. If this couldn't happen in 1980.
No, everybody would have been all over. Like, Barbara Walters, Oprah Winfrey, everybody would have been all over it. Like,
dude, you so right. You so right.
Boxing fell into the background. Because boxing fell into the background of the sporting world, it's like when I was young, I worked at a shitty ass job, right? Very shitty ass job in a place that was about to close. So because it was about to close, yo, we was going crazy in that shit.
Exactly. Yo, you was doing whatever. You know,
and it's like that, like, because this shit it's the rap for this shit. So we was bugging out, we bullshitting, we smoking, rolling dice, fucking bitches, all types of crazy shit. Why? Because this shit is about to close. It's in the background. That's kind of like where boxing is at. They're like, yo, everybody going crazy now because it's in the background. It's not in the front. You can't get away with looking at a motherfucker playbook in the NFL. You cannot get away with looking at a playbook. Yo. Because it's at the forefront of the sporting world in America.
Wow, that's a hell of an analogy. You just
that's why I'm like, if the reason that a guy like Mauricio can get away with this type of stuff is because it can't just be the fans. He doesn't give a fuck about us. He can't like, Mauricio, you're an asshole. You think he gonna lose sleep over that shit? But if it's fucking Dan Rather, he said, mira, pero ¿qué lo que tú haces?
Julian. All boxing fans need to be running around the street like Michael Jackson talking about. They don't give a fuck about us.
They really and they want to say is that they don't really care about us.
They don't give a fuck about us.
Yo, it's true, yo.
Boxing fans should like do like a TikTok. They don't give a fuck about us.
Yo, dog, I'm gonna do
oh my God.
You want to say
Oh shit, they don't give a fuck.
No. I'm gonna say this much. Look, this is the difference. Now go to the United Kingdom after the Vladimir Klitschko fight, right? Fury fights Klitschko. Fury makes some very inflammatory comments. The boxing fan in the United Kingdom matters more to boxing. Boxing fan in America. Why? Because the shit he said, people didn't like it. And he became a social pariah after that because of the shit that he said. Whereas here, if I say, oh, this, that, and that, man, ain't nobody listening to me. Nobody don't care about. You think Gilberto's he over there in Costa Rica, wherever? Who said that? Well, fuck him. Fuck. You got people grilling Mauricio Suleiman on a regular basis now. He's always doing Zoom calls and shit. He don't care. Why would he care? Now, if it's Dan Rather, well, that's different. You don't want that attention.
Yeah,
but
fucking Joe Schmo behind the desk. You think fucking what's his name? The barbershop conversations. I'm supposed to fret over what this guy's opinion is. Close the door, Papa. You know, am I supposed to fret over yours? Come on, like knucklehead shit.
Yeah,
knucklehead shit. Yo, but let me tell you something. But at the end of the day, I think that the boxing fan should also be accountable for our responsibility, right? Because you want to call yourself a hardcore. You think that this and that, you're so knowledgeable and shit like that. But guess what? You don't appreciate the IBF. You don't appreciate the British Commonwealth belt.
Yeah.
those are motherfuckers that really live up to the standards that you wish everybody else would. The
Yeah.
Commonwealth belt and the British Commonwealth, you're not even considered a champion unless you defend it 3 times. I know that the level of fighter
Not
who
world level.
possesses that belt usually ain't shit. But it's not that. It's the value that they give to the word champion.
Yes.
Who is a champion? Defend that shit 3 times. Not only did you have to take it from a champion, defend that motherfucker 3 times, and then you're a champion. So it doesn't even matter if you have it around your waist if you haven't defended it. So if you don't place value on that action, then you, as a boxing fan, are full of shit. That's why I get on boxing fans. You call yourself a hardcore this and that. You want to be outraged about every little thing, but you don't pay attention to little things like that.
I don't have the patience for boxing fans. Like, we're all boxing fans, right? But I don't have the patience, bro. Porque ellos le celebran la vaina que cuando a fighter they like benefits from it. But no, ellos son corruptos. No. I'm like, I don't have time for that. Like, I don't have time for that.
Right. And that's why we had a little thing going on, you and I, with this franchise tag. Right?
Yeah.
So the franchise tag, I see it for what it is, but it's consistent with the inconsistency.
Yes.
Can you dig it?
Yes.
It's consistent with his consistent. And at the end of the day, all you can ask is for something that makes sense. And the franchise belt makes sense. And I'll tell you what, you saw the franchise belt before the franchise belt was given a tag in the WBC. You saw it in the WBA Super Champ.
No. Oh, right. No. Now, this is why I always considered them, I guess it was inconsistent for starters. Like, I remember WBA Super Champion comes out. This is supposed to be for a person that unifies. This is the unified, the WBA unified champion, basically, because that's what the fuck it is.
Oh, okay.
That was kind of, because that was kind of how it came out. That, if you unified and you don't want to obstruct the unification match, WBA Super Champion, whatever. And for a while, I kept hearing that they didn't have.
So you had to have two belts to be a super champion.
Yeah, you have to have some shit like that. Y después lo que comienza is, all right, they ordered Golovkin versus Jacobs. Golovkin was super champion. Jacobs regular. So I'm like, oh, all right, well, then it's still like a regular championship that you have mandatories. They ordered Anthony Joshua versus Alexander Povetkin. So I'm like, so it's legit. I'm like, all right, so it's legit that you still have mandatories. You still have mandatories that you have to satisfy, because to me, you're not a champion if you don't have mandatories.
Okay.
No, you have to, that number one contender, that's what it is to be a champion. They're coming after you the way you came after somebody. Otherwise, it's not a championship to me. It doesn't make sense. If you're not going to have contenders that can fight for your title, then you're not a champion. I don't know what you are, but you're not a champion. That's what it's all about. The way you work your way up the ranks and chase the champion, they're going to chase you. And what determines how great you are is how long you can stay up there. You ain't got to be undefeated. No, hell, fuck undefeated. You ain't got to be undefeated, because you could be undefeated for fighting Mexicans, for all I know. Right. But as long as you defend it, that's where the prestige. And like Joe Louis had 25 title defenses. 25. That's why he's special. How many guys today can defend a title 25 times? You get guys out there, they go out there to defend it once and lose it. Bermain Stavern won a WBC title. He lost it in his next fight. Charles Martin won the IBF title. He lost it in his next fight. That's why I respect the process, because it has meaning. Like a guy like Joe Louis, bro, that dude defended his title 25 times. Cecilia Brækhus, the chick from Norway, 25 times. 20. Everybody can't do that. It's people that get out there. No. They can't defend it once and keep it. They can't defend it once. So it matters. That's why I'm like, I see what's going on. I see what Eddie Hearn and Barry Jones said, and I like that they're saying it, but I don't actually want the sanctioning bodies to go away. I want them to straighten their act. Straighten your act, because the sport is better with the history and the lineage and the stories and all of that. It's better for it. But you're diluting what it means to be a champion. You're killing it. You're taking all the meaning away. So can that shit, get rid of that WBA regular, get rid of that WBA gold, WBC silver, WBC diamond, WBC pearl, WBC French. Get rid of it and make them fight, because that's what you're here for. Make the fights.
Make the fights. You're absolutely right. My point about the franchise tag in the WBC is that, again, like in it making it make sense because it exists. Like I can't return that. So Mauricio Suleiman said, we're gonna make this franchise champion so that we won't have to saddle him with mandatories because that man is always involved in a big fight. That's basically what he said. That no matter what fight he is, he's gonna he usually kind of like I'm now paraphrasing it too much, but basically he said that man is always involved in a big fight. You could take that two ways. You could take that two ways in that he can say that person is a money maker and is a big enough attraction that no matter who he fights is big. Mm-hmm. Or you can say that this man, because of what he attracts and the money with him, he's always going to get a big name opponent in the ring with him, right? Mm-hmm. So either way, it works. So at that point, I said to myself, okay, I could see that, right? So in doing that logic, what you're saying, what you're rendering, and this is what Mauricio Suleiman, the reason why he gets so tongue-tied and that sounds so full of shit is because he can't bring himself to say in words the 500-pound gorilla in the room. And that is that once you have a franchise champion and you giving him that import, that kind of shine, and you're saying, because another thing is what does franchise mean? Franchise means most important or most valued or the money maker. That's why people buy into McDonald's franchises. Because if you do not buy into a McDonald's franchise, right, your little burger joint ain't gonna bring a million people from across the street just to get your fries. So now you get your little storefront and are able to put McDonald's on it, and people flock to your shit because it has a McDonald's sign. So that's the franchise thing. Also, like in football, you're the most important player. You're able to pay him whatever because he's the most important player. So that's a franchise. You tag him into boxing, but Mauricio doesn't refuse to phrase it that way because it automatically makes his other champion a regular champ. That's what I say about that name.
This is what I would say. The concept behind a franchise champion is actually, it's not a terrible idea. It's not. But when you have Canelo, who basically Canelo violated him again. If you're paying attention, he violated him again. This is the inaugural franchise champion. This is the first guy that got that designation. What does he do? He fights for a world title. What's he about to do? He's about to fight his mandatory. But you made him franchise so that he wouldn't have to fight mandatories, so that he could just have big fights. That was the whole point. You made him franchise so that he would not be stifled by mandatory challenges. What is he about to do? Fight a mandatory challenge.
A mandatory challenge.
He stayed disrespectful.
But he's not a franchise champion at 168, though.
Esto la vaina. The franchise designation follows you wherever you go. That was the way their rules were set up.
Oh,
they
really?
said that they said that the franchise champion could literally go to any weight and challenge that champion of that division as his mandatory. Eso diciendo que si Canelo
and then become a French state, keep his franchise status on that in that division.
Yes, go back. It's an article from World Boxing News. It tells you all the rules that they wrote down. And one of those rules was if Canelo wants to go to 60 and challenge Jamal, or he wants to go to 75 and challenge Beterbiev, they have to fight him because it goes with him wherever he goes. So it's like, bro, y'all made this shit for Canelo. Keep it a bean. Y'all made it for Canelo, and he is disrespecting y'all because he fought for an actual title. He fought for the actual WBC, and now what he about to do? He about to fight a mandatory. I thought you made him franchise so that he wouldn't have to fight mandatories, and he violated y'all again. That's why I started liking him. That's why I started liking Canelo. Like, yo, dog, this dude just do whatever the fuck he want. It don't matter.
He actually does. He actually does. Listen, I wrote this post the other day. I said, what was that? I said, yo, man, Canelo will inform motherfuckers in April if he's fighting you in May. And what do? You jump. Like,
Oh,
okay, I'm gonna go get this money from this Canelo money. He's put you in all kinds of disadvantages, man. But you know what? God bless. The guy is
no,
incredibly talented. I'm not gonna hate on the guy.
I don't. You know why I don't get mad at Canelo? Because a lot of times, if you stay ready, you don't have to get ready.
Right.
If Callum, God bless him, right? Él sabía que esa pelea was around the corner. He knew. If you follow him on social media, he was in Gallagher's gym the whole time training because he knew that, look, I'm going to end up fighting somebody, so I got to stay in his gym and I got to stay in shape. That's what he did. He didn't win the fight. Granted, he didn't win the fight, but fuck it, at least he had it. Look at Caleb Plant. No, I need more time. No, we'll fight. Like, bro, nobody want to hear that shit. He can't. Canelo Alvarez came to you 2 times. Who you see Canelo go to 2 times?
Yo,
and don't get a fight.
And listen, Canelo sees food when he sees Callum Smith. Caleb Plant. He sees food. He sees food. He probably sees what I see. He sees powder puff guy that he's not going to keep him off him.
Yeah. And Chris Algieri.
Exactly. He sees Chris Algieri. He sees Paul Malignaggi.
He sees the guy that if he was with Top Rank, he would be Chris Algieri.
Hey, listen. That's what he sees. Clearly, that's what he sees. And guess what? I think Caleb Plant sees himself as that too. Because if you want to take that fucking fight, if you really thought you had dynamite in your fist, you understand what I'm saying? He gave him about 6 weeks.
Caleb knows. I think ellos le hablaron a Caleb, ¿verdad? Y como un guerrero, él no piensa. Él lo que está pensando es, unless I knock Canelo out, I'm not winning this fight. Okay. I'm not going to knock him out. Golovkin couldn't knock him out. Fucking Chavez. Fucking Callum Smith. Fucking Cole. None of them knocked him out. I'm going to knock him out? Not probably not. So I'm probably going to lose my fight, and I'm probably going to lose my belt. Now, let me just come up with a story. Yo le digo esta vaina. But really, which is what I always say, you don't want that fight. You say his name a lot, but in your heart, tú no quieres esa pelea.
He didn't want that fight. I don't think so. I don't think so, man.
He doesn't want that fight.
But he goes along with the PBC, modus operandi, man.
Eso es como Gervonta Davis. Él da duro. Él tiene pegada en el 130. En el 130 tiene pegada. Sí. Not at 135, and I firmly believe that at 135, Javier Fortuna might fuck around and give him a run for his money. Gervonta Davis is not a big punch at 135. At 130, yeah, he can punch. He can really punch. But when he was at 130, con el Vasyl Lomachenko, no me diga nada. If you believe you can beat him and you believe you can stop him,
he didn't want that problem.
You take the fight. It's simple. If you think you can win 60, 40, 70, whatever. This is Vasyl Lomachenko, right? This is your king. This is the guy that's supposed to be better than Ali. Watch me knock him out. Watch me knock him out. Then what is that going to make me when I do it? That's the way it used to be. I want to beat him in front of you so you see that I'm better than him. Now give me that money. That's the way it's supposed to be. Now you got guys that want the reward before they even had a fight. You want a reward just for having them. Like, nah, I don't work like that, bro. This is other people's money that we're talking about. And that's the part that the boxing fans don't understand. I don't get mad at Bob when he says, I'm not giving Sean Porter $5 million. Bro, I wouldn't give him $5 million. You ain't going to bring it back. You got to bring me back my money.
Oh, my God. I'm glad you brought that up, man. Oh, my God. I'm glad you brought that up. With the modus operandi, the PPC modus operandi is to connect their names, right? To connect their names with somebody from across the street, right? And then never fight them.
Yeah.
And then make it look vague as to the reasons why the fight hasn't been made. You understand? And I think that Bob Arum is not even playing games no more. Like, first of all, he's calling him a lie and calling this, calling that. But the bottom line is this. He's not about the games anymore. Tonight he's cleaning out his closet. And he's like, listen, I'm not paying for this fight.
And I like that he said that to the dude.
I'm not paying for these fights. And he said, and Crawford is available to PBC if they want to make the fights.
Yeah.
What would be wrong with that? Why is he getting backlash from that?
He said in so many words, listen, if y'all want him, y'all could make the fight. Eddie Hearn told him that same shit with Demetrius Andrade and Jim Marcello. He's like, yo, if y'all could pay him, go ahead, make the fight.
Exactly.
And what y'all showed, y'all don't really want the fight.
You don't want the fucking fights.
Period.
You don't
Like,
want the fights. It shows a little bit more than that. It also shows that you don't got the money you say you're paying these
exactly,
people, bro.
exactly.
You're not making this one. And listen, I did again. How can people not see that?
Because they don't want to. Because look. But put it this way, right? I'm an event orchestrator. I'm a promoter. I'm staking my own money every time I make a show. I'm gonna make Caleb Plant versus Mike Lee. I'm pretty sure that I would make more with Caleb Plant versus David Benavidez than
Right.
Caleb Plant versus Mike Lee. But what I'm gonna do, Mike Lee, why? Because it's cheaper. It's cheaper. And you're gonna keep making them cheap ass fights, and you're gonna keep getting what you're getting. I'm hearing things. I'm not gonna say what I was told. I'm hearing things that like, yo, Fox, they ain't having it, bro. Like, they not having it. And that's why these cats is shopping around right now. That's what I've been told. Because and I knew that when they got in the deal with them, like, look, Fox is not gonna put up with that shit that you did at Showtime, bro. Don't think that. Fox will give you the axe in a minute because they can afford to. They can walk into a deal as easily as they can walk out of a deal. As easily as they walked in, they can walk. They got the money. And they're gonna look at what you're doing. I'm like, what the fuck is this? We could have fucking put reruns of The Simpsons on and got more ratings than this. We could have put reruns of Married with Children, Roseanne, and got more fucking ratings than this. So you better do something. You better do it quick. And what I'm hearing is not encouraging. That's it. I'm not going to say a lot. I'm going to see if it works out that way. Because what I'm hearing is Uncle Al is shopping around. He got to shop around. Fox ain't having it. The first indication that trouble was in the water was when they cut the shoulder programming. They didn't suspend it. They cut it. If a suspension is nothing to worry about, they're like, why are we going to do post-fight recap shows when there are no fights? That doesn't make sense. We're not going to spend money on that. Now, when the fights come back, we'll bring back the show. Now, they cut the shit. It got the axe. The pay-per-view buys. And I say it all the time. They're like, yo, I'm not counting nobody's money, but this is common sense. If the cable and satellite companies take damn near half of whatever comes in, look at these numbers, bro.
What's left?
What's left?
These
for
people
you to make money.
Around, these people, I keep telling these people, they're really good at reporting shit. So Mikey Garcia, Errol Spence was a 50-50 split, right? I think the profit from that fight, what they were able to split, because the other part is that I heard that Cowboy Stadium thing that they do, that they don't get shit from the tickets, bro.
Nah, that goes to the
owner of the Cowboy Stadium.
Yeah, like that goes to the, like, they don't realize how it breaks down. They're like, look, you could do 16 million at the gate, right? Like Wilder versus Fury 2, that did 16 million at the gate. And these idiots think that Wilder and Fury are getting that.
No, why would they get that? If Vegas put up the event and this is that's what they have to get their money.
Yeah, like you think like, yo, do you think that, for example, if Bob Arum makes a show, you think Bob Arum made a show just for the sake of making a show? No, he made a show to turn over a profit. Everything costs. You have people that you have to pay. If you got, like, when they reported Anthony Joshua's guaranteed purse for the Andy Ruiz rematch, Joshua said it. Yeah, 85 million, but I got people that I have to pay. Even if the purse is 85, I still got to pay all these other motherfuckers. He didn't say the exact number, but I'm not an idiot. What are you getting? Like 40 million probably. When it's all said and done, you probably walk away with 40 million, maybe that. All right? Once you pay everybody, because you got to pay people. Pero la gente que no bregan con dinero no entiende cosas así. They're like, yo, everything ain't free, bro. Go ahead.
So they talking because I don't know if you noticed or came upon this, but the thing is, like shows like The Boxing Voice, Mikey Garcia made $8 million from the Errol Spence. No, $8 million is what they split.
Yeah, exactly.
They made $4 million each from that fight. They made $4 million, and that's why I'm able to substantiate that PBC fighters go to pay-per-view to make Terrence Crawford's guaranteed.
Manín, yo dije eso, que lo que ESPN le garantiza a Terrence Crawford, y'all literally gotta go on pay-per-view to get that kind of money.
You gotta go to pay-per-view to get Terrence Crawford's money, man. Let's not make no bones about that, bro.
And why you think, I said this 3 weeks ago, why do you think he doesn't want to leave? Why you think he's not bashing? But he's not bashing him.
He knows
$4 million.
He knows he's been taken care of. He knows he's been taken. I'm not saying that he's trying to avoid these fights. At the end of the day, he's not in control. But at the end of the but facts are facts, man. You were treated well. You saw Bob bend over backwards to get a fucking fight with you with the PBC.
Bro, he gave you $4 million to fight Kell Brook, right?
He gave him $5.5 million.
¿Tú crees que a Keith Thurman, let's say they make Keith Thurman versus Kell Brook, right? You think that's going to be on a regular fucking Fox? No, that's not going to be regular Fox. They're going to turn it into a pay-per-view, bro. They turned fucking Charlo versus Rosa. Look. Better be Vosdick. 2 unbeaten champions fighting, right? Top rank ESPN. Jason Rosario. Jason
Rosario, you're going to put on pay-per-view? Are you serious? Why? Because the Bodeguero might tune into that fucking fight? Are you serious? Because the Bodeguero in Uptown Manhattan just might happen to know who Jason Rosario's mother is from back in the country. That's why you put it on pay-per-view.
Yo, el gato en la bodega viendo la pelea. Like, bro, look, and I bought the fight because I want to help the sport. The same reason, and I said it before, I want to help the sport. So cuando la pandemia comenzó, I upgraded my DAZN to annual. When Sean put and before that, like, I'll buy a pay-per-view because I support the sport. So I bought Errol Spence versus Sean Porter because I knew it was going to be a good fight, and it was a good fight.
Yeah, it was.
I bought, even though I'm laughing at it, but yeah, I bought the doubleheader, the Charlo doubleheader. Well, I thought it was a good fight, even though Jason Rosario, I'm sorry, God bless him, but he don't belong on pay-per-view. But it's a unification match, and the undercard is decent. I get Jermall versus Sergey. I get Jermel versus Jason. Okay, I'll buy it. Que son 80 pesos. Eso no es nada. So I bought it. But in the greater scheme of things, what that communicates to me is, yo, you hurting because you can't guarantee Jason $2 million. You have to put him on pay-per-view to get it. That's what that tells you. Have to put him on pay-per-view to pay him.
Get that, man. You pay Julius Indongo $1.5 million.
Yo, they gave Ugas $5.
Listen, people don't even understand this shit, man. Like the most gangster move of the year. The most gangster move of the year was putting on Lomachenko, Teofimo Lopez on free fucking television. This, if any fight could have gotten 350,000 pay-per-views, was that fight.
I'm gonna say that I think that the fight did 4.2 million across 2 ESPN platforms, right?
Right.
What me dice a mí is that fight likely would have done possibly 600 to 700,000 pay-per-view buys. 600 to what? Because look, 4.2 million people. That's 4.2 million people that knew about the fight. You don't need all of them to pay for it. You can get 25-30% of them to pay for it, and you still make money. I was ready to pay for it. I didn't give a fuck. Pandemia or no pandemia. Listen, I was gonna buy that fight.
People wanted to see that fight. It was a fight for that really had the boxing world's eyes on it, with anticipation and things like that. You know what I'm saying? And in the height of that moment, you're the businessman. You're saying, wait a minute, I can't really. What's more important to me, to get this fight on regular TV and get those eyes and the ESPN office of the Disney to show the product that I have, what boxing could be. Who's growing the sport? Who's growing the sport, man?
Bro,
you understand?
In America,
who's caring about the sport? Who's caring about you and me? Say, yo, man, y'all motherfuckers in a bad way. I'm not gonna charge you for this fight. Put it on this fight and see what happens with this fight, man. And no matter if this fight was, let's say, sold 500,000, you still wasn't gonna get any of the closed circuit money and some venues and shit like that. And
that was the most in America. that was the most, literally, of 2020, of the whole year. That was the most watched fight. Literally. Y estos mamagüeos que no saben nada, yo, look, Tim Tszyu in Australia, that dude is a star. If I fucking tell you that Tim Tszyu is a bigger star than Jermall and Jermel combined, you're gonna fucking laugh at me. Well, look, he sold 16,000 tickets. That was a pay-per-view with Jeff Horn, bro. He brought in 15,000 people for fucking Morgan Bowen. Who is Morgan Bowen Morgan? Who is that? I watch boxing all the time. I never heard of that dude. But he seated 15,000 people for Bowen Morgan. That dude is a star. Ryota Murata is a star. You know who's
Ryota Murata is a huge star, man.
You know who's not a star? Gervonta Davis. Can you do the numbers that Ryota Murata does? If you can't, then no, you're not a star. You cannot do here what he does over there. You can't. It's not, bro. That dude does. He fought Emmanuel Blandamura. I don't know how many millions of people watch that. Like, it's Emmanuel Blandamura, for God's sake. Stephen Butler, and he gets millions of views. You was on Showtime fighting Hugo Ruiz and Muñez and Fonseca. Did you get millions of views? I could pull up the numbers right now.
100,000 people watch, something like that, something like in the low 200s. It's crazy, and they're gonna sit there and tell me these guys a pay-per-view style on what fucking planet, bro?
Well, not this one.
On what planet? I'm telling you though. I will say this. Ryan Garcia put him on the fucking map.
Yeah. And
that kid is a fucking star, bro.
I thought about this last night, and people up. I know that the people that like to argue, they're gonna try to use this to argue. Ryan Garcia and Gervonta Davis is to lightweight what Gennady Golovkin and Canelo Alvarez were to middleweight. It's the same dynamic. You was on pay-per-view, you did shit numbers. Golovkin was on pay-per-view, he did shit numbers. But if we put Golovkin with Canelo, we do 1 million. If we put Gervonta with Ryan, we do 1 million.
Yes, that fight is millions, bro. That fight.
I'll say that fight does 1 million pay-per-view buys.
Listen. I'm gonna just tell you this, man. You know when I realized I was at chilling with my son, whatever. And there was this little kid, bro. This little white kid. I'm in the fucking suburbs of New York. This little white kid brings up Ryan Garcia. Yeah, because Ryan Garcia, kid 9 years old, 10 years old. No, but Ryan Garcia. I was like, what? Dude, I lost my mind. Like, people had told me that this dude is a star. And when that name, Ryan Garcia, came out of his mouth in the suburbs of New York, it's some white kid that has no fucking, listen. I said, oh shit, this dude is a star on a whole other level. And the reason, if you have that age group, what happens? Well, like nostalgia sets in. At some point, nostalgia will set into that child's life. And Ryan Garcia will always be a star to him.
Ryan has his pulse. Ryan has his hand on the pulse of this generation.
Yo, in a way that, listen, he's unbelievable.
Well, let's see. Gervonta, they're trying to build him up as if this is 1990. You know,
yes.
like you're using something. It's not gonna work for him.
That formula, no.
Unless you're gonna let him fight people. Like if you're gonna use the old school method, then you have to let him fight people, which you're clearly not gonna do. Okay,
you can't have it both ways.
Trick him out on social media, then, man. Let him go on Hot 97, Power 105. You know what I'm saying? Put him on BT a couple of times. Send him to BT Awards. Just be there, bro. Because if you're just a star, then that's how we gotta market you. You're just a star. Pero no me venda la vaina that he's it. Because he's pound for pound for Fonseca, Ruiz, and lukewarm Leo. Bro, ain't nobody excited about Leo Santa Cruz. Nobody was excited about that dude. Nobody. More people care about Miguel Berchelt than Leo Santa Cruz. Yeah, Miguel Berchelt. He gets more of a reception than Leo Santa Cruz. Nobody cares about Leo, bro. They ain't cared about Leo since he fought Frampton. That's the last time he was in a fight that...
I tuned into that. I don't even watch PBC fights, man. Listen, and now I guess this comes full circle, right? Because you brought Leo Santa Cruz, and guess what? Leo Santa Cruz is what they want Ray Vargas to be right now for Gary Russell. Yeah. But the PBC keeps missing the fucking boat. on these things. They think, oh, you were a champion and you're Mexican. We're gonna put you in here and we're gonna create the interest. Nobody gives a fuck about Ray Vargas. They would have cared about Leo Santa Cruz against Gary Russell. That's the fight people would have wanted to see.
Yo, look, my malo. If I'm Al Heyman, right, I got Leo Santa Cruz and Manuel Navarrete. That's a fight I would have tried to make. Or Santa Cruz con Valdez. Que cuando el Valdez estaba en el 2026, I would have called Al Heyman ASAP. Yo, look, you got Leo. You got Valdez. I got Leo. Let's make this fight Southwest, and we'll barter from there. I'll give you this one if you give me that one. I've been saying it. The way they can fix it.
That's what Bob Arum said. We barter. He said they've always been a solution. They said, oh, we know when reporters will say, oh, that these fights can't get made and this and that, because that's the other thing. Reporters are the freaking worst because they co-sign the bullshit.
No,
by how they report it. Oh, if you report things in the context of if you put it out to the universe, the negative, which is how they report on anything Top Rank. Oh, well, he's signed with Top Rank. Well, now he's not going to be able to. If you report shit on some negative shit, then guess what? The PBC is not going to feel any compulsion to make the fucking fight because you already are co-signing, and they say, "Oh, well, the reporters understand why this fight can't be made." You're not going to make it.
Ante, there wasn't an affiliation between the pundit and the boxer the way it is now. Like now, the boxer can pout and deprive you of interviews. You know what I mean?
Right.
They can pout like, oh, I'm not going. All right, cool. So you're not gonna get those tough Larry Merchant questions. You're not gonna get those tough Howard Cosell expose. You're not gonna get those Sporty Lewis articles. You're not gonna get that because now the fighters are more coddled, and more importantly, the pundits that write the stories are affiliated with the promoters. They are. Marcos Villegas works for the PBC, scores their fights. He scores their fights. He's their unofficial scorer. So whatever we hear from you is pro PBC. That's nothing against Chris Mannix, but you know it's obvious that you are in bed with DAZN. You in bed with DAZN. And ESPN, you know, they got Tim and Ward, and it's like, yo, I don't get mad when I see it anymore. I just identify it. I don't get mad.
But to be fair, on ESPN, they'll talk about PBC fighters. They'll do exposés on PBC fighters. They'll have you on Sports Center.
Top Rank is boxing. ESPN is Top Rank is boxing. PBC is WWE. That's what it is. Top Rank is boxing. They bring up boxers the way that boxers are supposed to be brought up in terms of their grooming process. They do it the right way. That's why they have excellent fighters. Why you think now? Look, we talked about the Gary Russell shit, the Jesse Magdaleno shit, I think it was. Jesse Magdaleno.
Yes.
The PBC does not want to deal with anybody's mandatories that might be with another outfit for that reason. Look what happened the last time they let a PBC fighter defend his title against a Top Rank fighter. Look at it. Bozdik, Stevenson, Fury, Wilder.
They get their asses waxed all the time.
They get their asses.
It's the truth serum. They're really great while they're across the street. And then when they meet somebody that's from that other street, they get their shit. We went through this already. Dude, that's the fucking. We're at the same point. What's his name? The guy that we just brought up that got his ass beat on HBO all the day long.
Joe Pesca.
At light heavyweight. What's his name?
Joe Pesca.
God, he was a piñata. This dude was the whipping boy of HBO. If you want to, he was the definition of the word gatekeeper.
Yo, they was fucking him like the second Kovalev fight. I never forgot, bro. Kovalev DDT'd this dude. Like he DDT'd the dude, man. He was fucking him up, bro.
Dude, it was insane the beatdowns he was taking. Goes to PBC. Gets crowned, he beats up on he beats up on TMTs, man. He beats up on Marcus Brown, and Marcus Brown, rest assured, was getting ready to be the guy that was supposedly going to be avoided at 175.
Yeah, yes, he was.
Yeah. How come Better Beat doesn't fight Marcus Brown? No,
Yeah,
he doesn't want to make that fight. That's what Marcus Brown's supposed to be. And they doing it. And what the thing with this PBC is crazy. They're settling. They're not they're settling. They're shooting for baby belts.
Yeah, now they're going after them
for regular champs.
Now they're going after them. Brandon Figueroa, he got the baby belt. He not gonna. That Uzbek, MJ Akhmadaliev. He don't want nothing to do with that Uzbek, bro. That Uzbek will fuck him up, dog. Fuck him up.
Who's this? Right? Who's this? You say?
This is MJ Akhmadaliev. He beat Daniel Roman for his 2 belts, right? And the dude only has like 6 fights. He beat Danny Roman. Where does Danny Roman go after that? Instead of going for a rematch, PBC. Right. PBC. Right. Brandon Figueroa. He got the baby version of MJ's belt. And what's he about to do? Instead of going for that opportunity that would give him 2 world titles, I think he's about to fight who is it he about to fight, man? Another champion that's basically with them. In a nutshell, it's the same thing it always is. You don't trust your guys to get that W. You really don't. That's why all that Spence Crawford shit. Look, all I know is I got $400 fucking on Terrence Crawford. I have the only way your boy beats him is if Terrence gets old. And Terrence is a special fighter. I picked Terrence to beat Spence 10 days out of 10. 10 days out of 10.
Let me ask you something. Because this is one of the things I wanted to discuss with you, man. Because, again, with the Crawford thing, right? So what happens, man? Because, first of all, I don't see Crawford anymore with I don't see how he's going to be able to go past his October ending of contract with Top Rank. You know what I'm saying? Because the thing with Crawford is this, and my heart bleeds for this guy. You know why? And I'll tell you this. Because unfortunately, now, even on the Top Rank side, and it hurts me to say this, you know I love Top Rank, man. But even on the Top Rank side, the emergence of Teofimo Lopez is getting in the way of the biggest fight that he has with Top Rank, which was getting the winner of Taylor Ramirez. Now that shit ain't even really set in stone.
Yeah.
I mean, the whole thing with Taylor signing with Top Rank was to be able to unify and have the winner then move up to get Crawford, and then Crawford would have finally this big ass fight that he hasn't had in quite a while against a viable opponent. The storyline was all there. But if we're honest,
I wonder where that fight is a bigger fight.
Huh?
Teofimo versus the winner of Ramirez versus Taylor is a bigger fight.
Oh man, it's a bigger fight. It's a bigger fight. So my and I wanted to say this and see what you think, because I think this could be huge. It depends on the winner of the Brian Castano Teixeira fight.
If Teixeira wins, Crawford will go after that belt.
Go after that fucking belt if Teixeira wins. And then I think that the PBC would be amenable to making Jermell Charlo against Crawford, because they would have the weight advantage and everything would be on their side.
That's the only way. Look, the sad part about the situation, and that's why I've been saying for like months now, the fight won't happen, right? It won't happen. I don't blame Bob for saying I can't afford you no more, bro. The fight that would get me money, I can't afford $4 million to fight who? Blair Cobbs? Who we gonna put in there with you, bro?
Maybe Virgil Ortiz?
That could do numbers, but does Golden Boy want to? I think Virgil wants to fight. I
think. Listen, one of the things with Oscar, bro, Oscar makes fights, man. He ain't trying to fucking.
You think he would make that fight?
Oscar's ripping pages from his own book, unlike Mayweather. Mayweather came up the same way Oscar did, finding the top fights, and I'm finally giving credit for this shit and shit. He knows the road to real
Yeah.
stardom. It comes through real fights. And Oscar knows that. And he knows that a loss at the end of the day isn't the end of your career, depending on how you perform in the ring. So he would make Virgil Ortiz and Crawford. But would Crawford get all the credit for that? You understand? Because
No.
at the end of the day, this kid is still a kid. You
Yeah.
know, it hasn't really. That's why the Maurice Hooker fight is so good,
But he
because it
won't
actually lends some kind of storyline leading into Crawford, because Maurice Hooker is with Bomac and things along that nature. I could see how that could transform itself into a really good fight. You understand? But it can't take place on the zone.
Listen, Pelosi. I don't think that Teixeira is going to keep that belt. I don't. I think I've seen Brian a lot. Brian is really good. El Argentino. He's a real good fighter. I think he's going to get that WBO off of Teixeira, I think. I could be wrong. I could be wrong, because I thought Adames was going to beat Teixeira. So maybe I'm looking past Teixeira. I thought Adames was going to win that fight.
Yeah, and he was winning. He just didn't have. And you know what? Again, making tough fights. That kid Adames had 18 fights, bro.
Yeah.
And I was talking to this Rick Glazer, because I was like, I thought Adames would win, but I thought at the end of the day, this guy Teixeira had been in with some real hitters at 160.
Yeah.
He could take the guy's punch, even though he was getting beat the hell down. And he had over 30 fights. Teixeira's a real pro.
Yeah.
And this kid gets in the ring with him at 18 fights, and then what's his name? Glazer tells me that it was Adames' people who pushed for that fight. Adames should have had maybe 2-3 more fights.
La vaina que Teixeira looks beatable. That's the thing. Like, this is why. This is what. Now this is the thing. This is why I don't go off of eye tests. If you look at Teixeira with your quote unquote eye test, he's not as polished as Jamal. He's not as polished as Jamal. Hell, he's not as polished as Adames was. He doesn't look as polished.
He doesn't look the part.
Put him in there, but when you put him in there, toda la vaina que él tiene adentro, toda esa madurez, it comes out. His experiences with better fighters than you, more experienced fighters than you. So that's why I don't go off that, bro, if I do an eye test on Adames and I do an eye test on Teixeira, I'm going to say Adames looks more skilled. At the end of the day, when they fought, who won? Teixeira. So eye tests don't mean nothing, bro. That shit don't mean nothing.
No. You gotta do it when it's real, man. You gotta do it when it's real, man. Good news is that WBA super champ goes to Murata.
Yeah, that's good news.
That's good news. That couldn't stay with the PBC. That could not stay there. And things along that nature, bro. But listen, bro, as always, man, it's been a pleasure, my brother.
Always a pleasure, Alexis. We're going to laugh at some more PBC shit another time, bro.
Without a doubt, man. Stay tuned to Ring IQ. That's the Mac right there, bro. Next Level Boxing Talk. I'm out.
All right, shout out to Alexis, man. All right, I'm out too, man. It's a pleasure. I'm gonna upload a video after this. Look for the next episode of the relay after this. Always a pleasure, Alexis.
All right, yo, man. Peace.
All right.